There are a list of dangerous cities in America. There are just a few: Detroit, Baltimore, Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Chicago that I will mention here. And when we look at them most closely, they're more heavily populated with black people. And it is 2020 and black people are still protesting for freedom. They're still making demands of others. Yet, the majority of them refuse to look inward. Those streets can be cleaned up in an instant if those families who are out there demanding that the police leave their vagrant sons would just train their sons to be proper men and citizens. The streets would be safe if they would make sure that their children stay inside and read and go to school and learn. The problem will be fixed if those mothers would relinquish the head of home status and allow the father to return to the home. Much of what we see would stop if males would stop fighting each other and compete properly for jobs to support their family. When black people learn that instead of blaming people for their mess and making excuses for them not being able to work with each other, and that is where the problem lies, is when we will see our race of people start to make strides. Women need the father in the life of the boy, but black women keep making the two same mistakes over and over again. They do not work with the father of their children, and they do not teach the male child to be responsible. No marches in the street will resolve this. No white person or any other person can fix this but the black woman and the black man. They have to learn how to parent together. And another lesson is that life is not a red carpet for others. Every person on this earth, white, Asian, Spanish, Indian, of mixed race, and every race face problems, challenges, and situations that they have to overcome. We need to take some time and look at the challenges that other groups of people have had. But no, we are too busy just taking everything personal as though we as black people were the only people in the history of this world who went through something. But black people do not want to face that fact. Black people hate facts. They don't even want to see any images of other people struggling because that would hurt the existence that we have. So they keep going to what they think has been working well for many years. At the first sign of a barrier, it is easy to cry racism than to use our brains to find a way around the barrier. Every time we meet an obstacle in life, we use slavery to deflect from us having to think about a way through that obstacle. Anytime we get any kind of opposition or obstruction, we use discrimination and it all disappears. Whenever there's a hurdle, we use guilt and people give in. And if we meet any stumbling blocks, we become destructive and like big bad wolves, people run away. We want to blame slavery for the breakdown of the family dynamic. But I want to remind you that none of the hooligans that destroyed those statues and defaced buildings and streets will clean them up. None of those tyrants that burned down buildings and looted stores will replace any of the goods. But I guarantee you that all of the damage will be fixed. Fixed by people who understand the true meaning of family. People are going to wait patiently for all of the so-called peaceful protesters to get tired, and then they will clean up the mess and build again. I know that they will repair their stores and build back this country, and black people will go back to their dangerous communities and graffiti walls. Do you know why we as black people will go back to our communities and do absolutely nothing? And why our demands will not be met? Because we are still in the coronavirus pandemic, which caused all of the world to shut down. And reports had just come out that black people were the ones most susceptible to the virus. And while the leaders of this country and states were trying to think of how to once again help the black community, and while the scientists and experts are trying to come up with a vaccine, The black survivors are out in the streets for over 3 weeks now. Black people are talking about Black Lives Matter, and their own family members has died in high numbers are in unmarked graves. Black bus drivers were becoming affected at a high rate. There's still black nurses and many black essential workers on the front line as EMS workers and in supermarkets and all over. All of these people were and are still fighting for their lives. And how do these black people repay the people who have been saving their lives? They have looted stores. They have burned businesses. They have torn down statues. They have defaced buildings. They have held blocks hostages and painted up the streets. They have destroyed the businesses of even those who were black. They have seriously hurt and killed police officers. And no one can tell them to behave. Like little spoiled children, black people threaten your life, and so in fear, people give in. Yes, we black people forget that there will be a second wave in the fall. This coronavirus pause has exposed that what black people really are. We are weak men who refuse to take charge of our lives and our homes. We are loudmouth women who make demands and have no clue how to raise children to be decent human beings. And I fear that we as a race of black people will never learn how to behave. We act like savages in a civilized society. We act barbaric for no reason. We behave like thugs, although it serves us no purpose. And then we wonder why no one respects us. But our children are getting wise to us. And I'm hoping that the black man, the black father, the black male, the black brother, the black son, the black cousin, and the black uncle will stop this madness, because it is no longer serving our cause. And black women, take a pause for the cause.